We'll move forward with that for now. Sorry for the delay, everybody. All right. Oh yeah, and we got an okay for everybody else online, I think. That's good. All right. So let's do, if we could do a roll call, please, either Jenna, if you don't mind, when you're ready.
So Commissioner Paisley?
Alternate Director of Planning for Paisley.
Commissioner May? Here. Commissioner Papa?
You're coming in.
I'm on here. I'm just having problems unmuting myself. I think I've done that now. But like with the agenda, it lists us as commissioners. It should be a director. So that's a correction to the agenda.
Okay.
Thanks, Walter.
I'm just saying. Commissioner McKeel?
Sorry about that.
I'm present.
Commissioner Johnson?
I'm here.
Commissioner Yakuchuk?
Present.
Commissioner Hemphill?
Here.
Commissioner Padfield? Commissioner Padfield? Commissioner Law?
Present.
Commissioner Denville?
Present.
And we'll close commenced.
Thank you very much, Jenna. All right, I believe we have quorum. We got there, I think we had 7, 8 of them, 8 of them. Anyways, it's
Yes, we have one.
okay. Thank you, appreciate that. Staff present, thank you for both being here. Commissioner Davison, I'd like to call this meeting to order at 7:08 p.m. We'll start with a traditional lands acknowledgement, which is that we acknowledge and respect the Indigenous peoples within whose traditional lands we are meeting today. Thank you everyone for being here. I'd like to move to item 3, which is the adoption of the agenda. If I can please have a mover. Oh. Peter, got Peter with moving the agenda.
I'll second.
John with seconding, with the amendments. The commissioners being directors for Leah Main and Director Popoff, please and thank you. And I'll just ask, is there any in opposition to that? I'll look online. Looking, seeing, and hearing none, and in the room, that motion is passed. The adopted amended agenda is carried. Moving forward to item number 4, the receipt of the August 29th, not 2042, 2024 Recreation Commission meetings, future. How about time, eh? So with that amendment to the 2024, the minutes are received unless there's any concerns. No delegations for item number 4. Moving right on, sorry, item number 5. Moving on to item number 6, which is the old business. That is item 6.1, the working group meeting update. Last meeting, the commission met and gave direction to a number of the commissioners to go and basically meet and come back to the commission with some direction, hopefully to the commission and then therefore to staff around the New Denver and Community Gymnasium. Around rental.
Somebody else is.
Okay, stand by one. Thank you. So on that note, we don't have an official staff report, but Commissioner Peter Yakuchuk has kindly sent along an email with some notes on that. And I just want to allow for the opportunity to hear in person, if possible, what that meeting entailed and what you might be able to update the committee with. It'd be greatly appreciated if you're willing to take that on.
Sure.
Thank you, Peter.
In regards to the email that I sent out the other day, there was a lot of discussion in regards to the protocols that need to happen in regards to third-party rentals. We were enlightened a lot, I think, in regards to some of the things that the New Denver Gym currently does not operate under. with third-party rentals. And there are some things and legalities in regards to contracts and liability that we need to consider. The RDCK has set up some parameters in regards to different fees for third-party rentals. There was discussion within the group whether those were reasonable or not. I think we were not quite in agreement in regards to that. Some felt that they were too high, but there was opinion that they are too low in regards to staff involvement and what needs to happen. Currently, the New Denver municipality bills back to the RDCK for the number of hours that is involved by staff. Currently, their year to date, there's 160 hours. So if you look at hard and soft costs, in my opinion, you're probably looking at about $4,800 for the year so far. And don't quote me on that, but that's just my estimation, right? The discussion with the group was to discuss with the CAO whether this was something else that the staff can take on in regards to all the extra work that happens with third-party billings. So going forward, in regards to a set finalization of anything, we don't have that. Just for the simple fact that we need to look at whether the New Denver staff can actually take on these extra tasks, which is onerous. If you look at some of the things that I pointed in my email, like looking at the direct insurance levels for the activities in the gym themselves, establishing the booking contracts, setting up and closing by staff. So there are certain things that third-party bookings might be considered. They may need to come in, they need to set up, they need to close down, they need to clean up. So how do you, and I'm going to use quote unquote, police that? And that was the things that we had talked about within our meeting, is that these are certain things that we need to consider on third-party bookings and how that's managed. If they're coming in after hours, which typically that's what we establish in regards to when they are allowed to book, is that how do we take care of that? And how do we ensure that the gymnasium is in the same state as it was previous, before they actually came and booked it? And we had discussed about insurance costs and the activity levels. And for the most part, most of them would fall into the medium to high activity risk. And there is a standard contract that the RDCK has currently for those type of bookings. As I mentioned in the last of my email, there's only been a couple inquiries in regards to bookings right now, and that may change depending on how we allow other people to start inquiring about bookings. I guess that's about it in regards to our working committee. If there's any questions, I'm open. And Erica and Leah, if you have anything to add, please do.
I'd like to comment on the insurance aspect of it. The same as for rentals for our municipal halls. The person renting it needs to arrange for timed insurance, and it's available online through municipal insurance agency, and it's not terribly expensive. So that's something that the people renting can undertake on their own, and then when they come to sign the rental contract, they produce that certificate of insurance that they have. So that's something that village staff won't necessarily be having to do on behalf of the people renting.
Initially, though, there will be a soft cost to set that all up and get that information to the people.
Yeah, like just explaining to people that they are required to get that insurance. It doesn't take a lot to set up that communication.
Right, just so we all understand that there are simple things that need to happen, and there is a cost to them and time.
Chair recognizes Alternate Director Fike.
What did the CAO say about village staff time? Because I know they're just flat out, and any more demand from
He
them.
hasn't said anything as of now because we have requested a meeting.
Oh, I see, you haven't met with them yet?
No.
Okay,
And I agree with you, John, like the staff time right now, it probably isn't available, right?
especially after hours.
Yeah.
The supplemental, and
Yeah.
I forwarded the keto proposal, what they want to do next summer.
Yeah.
So they have their own insurance, apparently. I'm not sure, of course, there's some details to be cleared up.
Yeah.
What did you think about that? And I did just like, would love to get Trish's sort of input after that. She hasn't seen this.
Oh, I
proposal.
didn't see that either.
Right. Oh, it would be a fabulous event for New Denver to host. There's some ceremonial aspects to it that I don't recall how many years ago it was that they did an initial really big demonstration intake, and there was a sensei present who I believe the same sensei would be coming up here to do this this event as well. It would be great, but yeah, for sure there are details that need to be worked out about.
Okay, do you see it?
Yes, I did see the email that was
Okay.
you had sent in regards to Rebecca Sargent's request.
Can you, like, it's a short email, but it's an Aikido group, they have their own insurance. And she went through a whole bunch of, I don't have internet here right now. You got internet?
I do.
Anyway, I'd love
Yeah,
Trish to hear it.
Yeah.
Tricia, just to hear it and see what you think for this proposal, because as I see it, village staff, it's just, they can't do it. There's not enough hours in the working day
Yeah, like I
for
said, I
them,
did not see
for
the
them to do
email.
RDCK.
I didn't see the email.
I sent it to 3 of you. Anyway,
Okay, I've got it.
have you got it?
Yeah,
It takes like 1 minute to read.
yeah. So hi, Rec 6 committee members. After an alley conversation with Rebecca Sargent regarding the local Aikido group staging an event in the New Denver Community Gymnasium only, I had a chat with Erica, who suggested I get the info and forward it to you for your next committee meeting as a real life scenario for you to consider and perhaps make a decision. Anyway, see below for Rebecca's proposal for the Aikido Symposium next August. It continues, hi, John and Erica, here are a few details about the potential event I would like to hold in New Denver at the hospital gym. The intention is to hold an Aikido training and social event over one weekend in the summer of 2025 for the purpose of bringing higher ranked teachers and students to visit New Denver, where one of the first Canadian Aikido training seminars was held in 1976. My teachers, Ishiyama Sensei and McPhail Sensei, were both young men when they last trained in the New Denver Hospital gym. McPhail Sensei has told me he has fond memories of this place. Ishiyama Sensei had connections here to the Japanese Canadian interned community. Bringing them back to New Denver in the later stages of their training would be very special for the BC Aikido community. The dates proposed are for the first or second weekend of August 2025. Negotiable but needing dates set by December 2024 for advertising and camping reservations. We might try to schedule this with the NIMC Oban ceremony, but I'm not sure if the village has dates for that yet. So I'll comment here that the first and second weeks of August are music camps. And so there might not be accommodation available for anyone coming into the community because we go, you know, it's almost as full as Garlic Fest when all the music camp families are here. And many of them camp. Getting back to the proposal, generally the weekend seminar times generally look like Friday 6 to 8 p.m., Saturday 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon, 2 to 4 p.m. plus additional practice from 4 to 5:30 p.m. and Sunday 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon. Our request would be to have exclusive use of the gym for these times, but the event would be open to public spectators. Our local kids Aikido club would be invited to participate and maybe even test. The local Aikido members all have memberships with the New Denver Gym through Rec 6. Our group is insured by the Canadian Aikido Federation and abides by the CAF standards, including teachers having CRCs for working with vulnerable populations and first aid training. We provide and clean all our own equipment, including mats for each class. The event would likely bring about 30 adults and youth to participate, plus our local group membership. Generally, there are only minimal fees collected to pay for high-ranking teachers' travel costs. All participants sign waivers and are members of the Canadian Aikido Federation. That's everything I can think of for now. Thanks for considering and helping me brainstorm how this might work. So it's a lot to be considered.
Yeah, thanks, Leah. What do you think of, say, that as a real example?
Love it. So really cool event like that. What a side in New Denver. And really, these are the types of things that I think the exploration of the working group would exactly need to think about. And really, it still comes back to exactly what Peter ended on, which is a conversation with the Village of New Denver as to what is actually reasonable. And if not reasonable through them, what other means might there be to support third-party usage of a space? So in this case, you're talking about an event which is a little bit more of a thing, you know, to coordinate, but in actual fact, it's also a one-off thing. So it's a little bit different than if you're talking about ongoing, ad hoc, potentially people picking and choosing when they might want to use a space is a very different, it can have a different flavor, a different challenge, but the process is exactly the same. And so you still have to decide, one, after all the information that you gather on what it takes to put on a third-party rental, what it disrupts. So in this case, you would be disrupting public usage, and you could make that exception and say, we're going to decide that we're going to close the facility to the public for outside of what you would normally quantify as public time. You could make all those decisions as a commission for sure. It just still comes back to how is it physically managed, and are we okay with that? And is this, you know, then the other check boxes become, is the type of event, does it fit with the mandate of the facility? I would say, yep, definitely fits with the mandate. It's in that health and fitness, you know, kind of world. We talked about that at the working group. It also, you know, ticks the box of there's some historical connection, there's lots of community pride, like there's all kinds of things that you go, great, this is a good event, but it still requires resources to put on, and you have to be realistic with what is reasonable. And if you say yes to them, who else might you say yes to? And to just be open to that conversation to decide potentially why them and not someone else that might want to do something similar that someone else gets excited about. So it's all There's a great idea, wonderful event, really neat idea. Still have to walk through the process.
And believe me, I'm all for extra activity in the gym. Casey and I have talked about this area, possible blue zone, right? And how you get there is through activity and community events and healthy food, right? And giving our aging population the opportunity to have somewhere to go to be able to be active and be social. So I'm not against anything. I just want us to realize that what it takes to take on something like this and what we need to do and how much staff availability that we actually have. I'll give you an example right now. I'm coordinating Remembrance Day for New Denver. The number of hours that I put in are mind-blowing right now in regards to coordinating and getting everyone involved and all the ins and outs and the bits and pieces of the whole thing. I've promoted concerts in the past, and this is exactly the same kind of activity, and it's a lot of work. So I'm not sure whether the New Denver Village wants to take on this extra work for staff and whether we have that availability.
And a suggestion, a question is like for the soft costs, the preparation of the documentation, checking the insurance, writing up the contract. I would think that perhaps that could be done through RDCK rather than needing New Denver staff to do that. So that's a question. Through the chair.
So through the chair,
Sorry.
so yes, Director Mayor, I do think there's the commissioner, I'm sorry, I can't remember which way.
Director.
So short answer, yes. I'm just gonna give another real life example of a request like this. So let's say, yes, the RDCK is set up to manage requests of space that might come in for all kinds of facilities. So let's say the RDCK staff add, okay, we're gonna put New Denver Gym in this category. The first thing that we would see with this is no, because it doesn't meet the requirements of available public space. So we would then have to go, okay, it needs to come back to the commission to say, are you willing to give up public space? So just add time and not just staff time, but more advanced lead time in making decisions. So it'd have to come back to the commission because it now is outside of what we think reaches public time. So you make that decision, you say yes. But then you go, oh, but by the way, there's another event that goes on at that time. And we know that it's gonna be a draw in the community, but the person sitting in Castlegar taking that booking doesn't know those little details. And so it's those types of nuances that are not insurmountable. They just need a lot of thought and consideration that in our minds, when we say a space is available for booking, a space is available for booking. If we know that there's something coming up in the community, when you start to allow third-party usage, we start blocking it all off and we just say, no third-party usage, general usage might continue. It's those kind of decisions that just need to make.
Supplemental for clarification, I more was thinking whether regional district staff could prepare the contracts and that kind of stuff. Not that you would necessarily be handling the bookings, but that you know, all the paperwork that would have to be done. I mean, it's all boilerplate stuff.
So through the chair, they're kind of part and parcel, but they go together, but the short answer is yes, it's possible with a lot of structure and framework.
Thank you, Tricia. Just before I acknowledge you there, I did see Commissioner Denbach, you had your hand up for a moment, and then also I'd like to give a chance if anybody online. I see Walter's, now I see his hands up. I'm not sure if you're ahead, but did you want to go ahead and then I'll get to you, Walter? Sorry about that, unless you've been up before, I don't know.
Yeah, just before you go ahead, for the benefit of us that are online, we don't know who's talking. So it would be greatly appreciated if they talk through the chair and the chair recognizes, for example, Director Main or Commissioner Yakachuk or whoever, or staff, Trish. We don't know, at least I don't know who's talking. I'm having a problem recognizing voices, etc. So that's just my comment for now, but go ahead. I believe the other person was ahead of me. I don't know who it was.
Okay, thank you, Director Popoff. We'll work to try and be a bit more formal with recognizing who's speaking. And this, as it isn't a committee of the whole per se, but we are trying to get some good dialogue to happen here. So, Chair recognizes Commissioner Denbach. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just pass and maybe come back to it.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to Walter if that's okay, and then I'll come back to you. Chair recognizes Director Popoff.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I just listening to that, I see the report from the working group, and to me, it's going to be pretty hard to manage that facility because in the past, it has been managed by volunteer work, etc. At this point, I think possibly what might, the working group provide us with the problems that they see and the possible solutions. But I think it's more staff to staff negotiations on this to arrange for looking after the facility if the New Denver staff is willing to do that. If not, then we'll have to go another direction.
Thank you for your input, Director Popoff. I appreciate that. That's a very good point. The Commission does have work to do here to set out what we'd like to see done, but ultimately it does look like it is a capacity and staff issue, but I will bring it back to Alternate Director Fike.
Okay, thank you. Through the chair. I noticed in that email, she would love to know by the end of the year so she can make arrangements. So what it would look like then, so say I volunteered and then we didn't use village staff, just for the interest of seeing this event go and see how it transforms and we can make judgments based on what happened. So let's say I volunteered, whichever. What needs to happen before the end of the year, Trish, in order for this to proceed? Does there need to be some sort of resolution from this commission to move forward in principle? See, I'm kind of lost here. I'd love to see this happen. Not sure about the mechanics and nuts and bolts, and I know that can take quite a long time. And I don't want to rush it either. That's not the point. I'm just wondering how this event would go without staff.
So directed to a staff member, and then we'll get back to you if that's all right. Okay, Chair recognizes Tricia Davidson. Yeah, thanks.
Through the chair. So let's see, I would suggest a couple things. So we have a meeting with the CAO of New Denver next week, I believe. I think it's next week. Soon. If it's not next week, it's the week after. And the reason I think that is important is just out of respect for that relationship. I think from a staff perspective, I think it's an important conversation to just also have as a check-in and say, how are things working? What's going on before I personally, as a staff member, would feel comfortable adding something. And I think then from there could be a conversation, say, this is what we're willing to consider as trying to help, if the commission wishes, this event to proceed. Then I think we need to actually come back and say, let's have a real heart-to-heart on what it's going to take. Because bless you for being willing to volunteer, but depending on what their needs are, it might exceed your ability on your own. And so therefore, taking that on, I think I just want to be careful of what you might be promising and what, in all honesty, for yourself, to just be aware of what might be needed as far as lockup, all the things that go with it. Because I'm not knowing exactly what your janitorial staff might need to do, what any number of things can come up in these events that your best efforts as a volunteer may still have a draw on village staff that are just unintentional. So I think in going forward in a respectful partnership, I think there's some conversations that should happen. If commission wishes to say, we'd like to see this happen and we're going to figure it out, then I believe it's figure outable. I just think that out of process, I think the respectful way to go would be to engage on a staff level with some working group members and at least start the conversation there.
Okay, somebody else?
No, I've got Commissioner Dembach next in line. Chair recognizes Commissioner Dembach. Thank you, Tricia. Though.
To the chair, I want to just back up a bit. What is the case for doing third-party bookings at all? Given that it's public space, let's just ask the question, how many public bookings might we be, that is, how many third-party bookings might the public space be willing to sacrifice? And if it's 2 or 3 or 4 a year, is that worth all of this? And is there other space available that these folks could use, like this hall, for example?
Fair question, Commissioner Dembach. His history in this, the reason why we're here is a couple of years ago, there was some change after the pandemic that happened. The use of the space was then brought to the eye, I think, more of the Center of Insurance and Policy and making sure that it was appropriately used space. Prior to, in my personal experience, not as a commissioner or director or chair, was that space was being utilized fairly reasonably well by the community on an ad hoc basis, self-monitored with a calendar sheet, dance, aikido, whatever kind of events were happening there. So it's hard to say for sure. I don't know if we have data on that to say what the driver is. Right now, it sounds like there isn't a huge appetite, but that could be because that the space isn't really available to be booked as third party. Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
So do you mean a huge appetite for the public use or for third party?
For third party, yeah. And the other example, and that what's also was the interest, the query that we had put forward by Heather Fox with her pet training. That was something that she had done in the past, and that's why we asked staff to come back with a report on it. And it's a good question. I do wonder about that, but that's, I think, why we wanted to go through the process, have the working group come back with something that, and maybe it is going to look like that space is going to be unmanageable. I mean, I think we want to utilize a space as best possible, and it has been a good community space. And I'm not sure if you were there when Gary Wright gave the history of that space and DJ and how it was utilized for the community, but trying to keep it as a community space and utilize as best possible. But at the same time, I recognize it is taking a fair amount of this commission's time and effort. And we do have someone online, if that's all right. I'm going to recognize Commissioner McKeel.
Hey, Casey. Yeah, we did actually talk about that during our working group, and staff indicated that they'd had maybe 2 inquiries over the last little bit, one of who might have been the dog walking. They couldn't quite remember. So let's say 2 or 3. So there wasn't a huge demand for it at the moment. And our gist from that was like, yeah, potentially if we had something set up, maybe more people would ask. But right now it seems to be kind of grassroots, people who are already all members gathering together to do a pickup game of basketball or a pickup game of whatever. So from that, I don't know that like something like the Aikido thing might not actually be that common, and maybe something that we could accommodate as a community trying to provide a service, which I think was also kind of a general gist we got. But yes, it wasn't like there was 10 people standing in the wait in the corner, asking for this service. It was pretty minimal.
Thank you, Commissioner McKeel. I appreciate that. And I'll recognize Commissioner Dembach.
To the chair, so what would the maximum amount of third-party bookings be, given that it's primary use is public booking, and you surely don't want to cut into that too much? I would think, unless this is a revenue thing and you're looking for a business model, you're optimizing your, what you can make. So you book 10 for third-party bookings and you market it that way. You fill those 10 spaces and you make more money. I don't think that's the idea.
No, Commissioner Dembach, I think that the space is public space that is trying to be best utilized. It's a public service. Taxation money is going into it. Yes, it needs to not affect our taxpayers in a detrimental way, but yeah, it's definitely not, I don't think it's a business model per se, but there's some set out amounts and go ahead.
So then I go back to the question and I'll stop
no, that's fine.
Interrupting myself with other questions. Right. What's the maximum number of bookings you think could we do this way, 6 per year? So it's 1 every 2 months, the public gets told they can't use it. And then if, once we know that number, is it worth it?
Fair question. Is there a number? And do we need to, we met and decided on public time as a trial as well. So we can always go back and reevaluate that if there's enough drive for it. But I don't know if there's a specific number. It's a good question of what makes sense. And that's what I think we're trying to get to the bottom of. Commissioner Yakachuk, Chair recognizes you.
Through the chair.
Yeah.
That could be daily. Because there is daily availability for the gym for third-party bookings. So it's not a question of how many, it's the question of how much time we've allotted for third-party bookings, and that's daily.
Thank you both.
And Erica had her hand up.
Okay, I did see staff member Tricia Davison, but maybe before we transition, I'll recognize Erica McKeel. Commissioner McKeel, please go ahead.
Yeah, just to agree with Peter, I think what we really learned as part of the working group was it wasn't so much of like how many people are asking. It's that we really don't have the staff that the bigger centers do to accommodate endless accommodations. You know, like in the bigger centers, we learned that you could have birthday parties and there could be food and alcohol, and they have setups for all of these different things. And there's people checking people in and out and kind of providing help for them. And just something that we can't really do. Plus, another kind of issue was in the bigger centers, they can make sure people are staying in their zone. Where in the situation of the gym, and I mean, my kids used to do Aikido there, so I've seen it. You know, we're renting out the gym space, but how are we making sure that people who aren't members and therefore not insured or not supposed to be there aren't using all of the equipment inappropriately or at all? You know, how are they coming in and out? And that really ended up being our big issue with how would we make these work. Like, I think as a group, and from what I heard from the commission last time, we felt like we were happy to work with people around the funding and how much of that we would eat as far as the fee itself. But the barrier really does seem to be like, how does it actually work to have somebody physically show up, let people in, make sure the space looks good, leave, you know, and then monitor what's happening during that time and then make sure it's okay after? We just don't have the staff for it. And like, I think, yeah, maybe for these bigger events, we could make an exception. But yeah, like Clarence said, how many are there? Realistically, I don't think there'd be a lot, but like Peter said, there could be any at any point that's not public time, you know?
Thank you, Commissioner McKeel. I appreciate your input on that. And I'll turn it back over to staff member Tricia Davidson. And then I think if we can try and wrap up this subject here, we'll see if we can go once more around and then move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to applaud the commission for taking on this challenging topic. And just to go back to what some of the commissioners have talked about is this complexity of booking, just to recognize you can narrow that very specifically. So we talked, when we met with the working group, we kind of said, here's a whole bunch of information. All of this may not apply to the New Denver gym. And the idea would then be, if you're interested in pursuing this, start picking and choosing and saying that the concept of needing insurance, setting up the framework, all those things still applied, but you could come down to the simplicity of saying, all we will ever book for is a fitness program, or all we will ever book for is an Aikido event, you know, or whatever it might be. So the commission could decide, even if you wanted to take this on and thought that those services were so important, or you had people banging down your door to say, we really want to get in there, you could narrow your opportunity that tight if you wanted to. You just still needed to deal with those steps in the process, despite narrowing what your options might be. So just for clarity on that, you could, so as much as we gave all this information, we certainly weren't going down the path of thinking that all options available at all times, you know, were feasible. So just for clarity.
Thank you, staff member Tricia Davidson. Chair recognizes alternate director Flick.
Yeah, so I see March 8th is our next meeting, which doesn't really work for this group. And I'm wondering if we can move some sort of resolution as we're together with the commission to move this process forward, to define the boundaries, or as Tricia says, funnel down the restrictions or the parameters by which we rent this. I just hate to see this really beautiful space not get used by the public when people, want to put on something like this and brings economic stuff to the community, et cetera, et cetera. So I wonder if there's something we can do before we leave this, and I think we should, you're right, that would just say, yes, the commission wants to move forward, defining the parameters for this group. Does that make any sort of sense? Just because we don't have another meeting till March in theory.
Thank you, Alternate Director Fike. And I do apologize. When I received that email, I thought it was intended for the working group, but I didn't quite catch all the way through the details on that. It wasn't brought onto the agenda tonight. I understand the need. It sounds like there's some issues in regards to the relationship with the village, the staff honoring what their capabilities are, despite your willingness to step up and make this happen. Also coinciding with the timeline of the music camp, things could be very busy. That said, I mean, I don't think we necessarily are the ones who can make the decision around whether there's capacity in the town or not for events, but it is a factor. If you have a motion that you want to put forward, or if staff or any other members have any input on how to make that happen and move forward with it, otherwise we could look at calling another meeting prior to, but I don't think people generally want to have more meetings than they already have, so.
So supplemental.
Yeah.
Tricia, can you help me out? Am I off base here? Could you help me out with a motion that would move this forward? I'll make it, but the wording escapes me right now. I won't hold you to it. It's my motion.
Thank you for that.
Chair recognizes staff member Tricia Davidson.
Through the chair, here's the thought that's going through my head that doesn't totally deal with what you asked me to consider, but it might be an option. Is there an opportunity for the event, I know it's not what Buster made, but is there an opportunity for the event to occur in the New Denver Hall with the option of going, we could move it to the gym if we can figure stuff out. Maybe that's the preferred location, but could it go in the New Denver Hall to say the events at least in New Denver? Now that speaks nothing to the capacity issue of the town. I would have no idea what that means. I'm not even sure all the logistics of what happens at the halls. I don't know if that's still a Village of New Denver thing. So I'm just thinking of some of those other logistical issues that were brought up during the working group, whether there's an alternate location that might still see the event occur in New Denver, but may not be at the gym. And if that's a no-go, then I'll keep thinking. It's a no-go, okay. I'll keep thinking, maybe I'll turn it back to the chair.
Chair recognizes Director Main.
Thank you, Chair. Alternate Director Fike, I really appreciate your passion to see this event happen. I too think it would be, a landmark event. I've got to use the word appalled that people who actually live in New Denver would propose that timeline for an event. Everybody knows that it's music camp, August, first 2 weeks in August. And
You could move it.
yeah, so it would, I think for it to happen at all, it would have to, the timeline, the dates of the event, it just wouldn't work then. The halls, no other halls are available. The campgrounds are fully booked a year in advance for the music camps. People's houses are rented out for music camp families. If it can be moved to a different set of dates, I'd be fabulous for it to happen and for it to happen in New Denver. And maybe look at alternate ways of facilitating it. unless this commission wants to say, okay, we are for this event and we would like to work with the group proposing it to find a way to make it work.
Occur next summer, perhaps. So supplemental, yeah, move the date. But I'm just wondering if we can somehow before the March meeting indicate that, yes, we're pursuing this event and the parameters that need to happen in order for it to occur. I just think it would be a shame if we didn't move forward in some manner with this to get this group. She just needs it by December. She can move the date. That's all. We don't have another meeting until March.
Did you have a motion to propose to try and capture what you would like to see the
Sure.
commission's will on this?
Okay,
Or unless you prefer to refer to staff.
could I refer to staff for the correct wording, because their expertise is far beyond my capacity.
So, through the chair, possibly, so don't hold me to this, but, something like, subject to a review of the requirements of the event in consultation with New Denver staff. And, that commission agreed to explore this event. And then something to do with an adjustment to dates, but like the recognition that the dates just don't work. So it's almost like there's this one part that is subject to the review. Sorry, Jenna, I know I'm giving
You got it.
but subject to the review with New Denver staff. And then kind of the second component is subject to with the renter review of an alternate dates. Because if they're not willing to, if they can't move, then it's a no-go. There's actually no point in even having a conversation with us.
True.
So maybe that's the first conversation.
How's that read, Jenna?
I think alternate
Alternate director.
right, just needs to be able to say it as his motion.
Okay, so subject to a review of the requirements to consultation to New Denver staff, that commission agreed to explore this event with subject to review of alternate dates.
That's about how I said it.
If alternate dates can be agreed.
Subject to review of alternate dates. Yeah, same. Don't just come around, kind of read it off your computer. Or do I need
Subject to
to?
a review of the requirements to consultation to New Denver staff, that commission agreed to explore this event with subject to review of alternate dates.
Yep, staff, thank you for ironing that out, that motion.
So
I'll make that
subject to
motion.
a review of the requirements related to hosting the event in consultation with New Denver staff, the commission agreed to explore this event subject to a review of alternate dates being agreed to. Something.
So stated.
Okay, looking for a seconder for the motion. Director Main seconds the motion. All right, and I'm gonna call I think everyone's online and I can see, so I'll just ask all in favor. I'd like.
Yeah, before you vote on it, Chair Casey, can that motion be read back? It was hard to understand what the motion was all about. And is that motion direction to staff, or is that motion for board approval?
We get a clarifier of whether there's a staff or a board would be appropriate.
It's
To staff?
direction to staff. It is
Direction to
not- It is not a recommendation to board.
Okay, and would you be able to read the motion once more if you're able to, please?
So it would be. Agree to explore this event with subject to review of the requirements of consulting with New Denver staff and subject.
See here from behind there. Read Lex.
Walter, give us 1 second.
commission agreed to extend this event subject to review of the requirements of this new document staging will be subject to the review of the alternate dates.
Is it possible to copy and paste it into the chat maybe? Is that
Yeah, if you can copy it and paste in the chat would work. Or read it more loudly so the rest of us that are online can hear it. I've got my speaker turned up right up to the volume, so it's hard to hear it.
stay the same voting practice, eh? Probably, yeah. Yeah, that's a better way to go. Yeah. Same. Yeah, sorry, I missed that one.
No,
Give enough attention.
I'm gonna try and type while I talk. Are you ready for this?
Also,
Walter, can you hear me okay?
I think it might be sound. Might be
Yeah, I
coming.
can hear you. Go ahead.
So subject to a review of the logistical event requirements. And I'll add related to the Aikido event with New Denver staff and a review of alternate dates with the renter that commission approved further looking into this request. Beautiful.
Director Popoff, were you able to hear the motion clearly?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, that we have a mover on that, and then sorry. Okay, and seconder, it's the same. You're in favor of that. Okay, and I'll just stay with the same format. Just gonna ask call the question. Are there any opposed? And I will look online. And if you are, please indicate now with your hand that you're opposed or speak now. Looking, seeing, hearing none opposed, that motion is carried. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Peter and Tricia and the working group members for taking time to try and get a good answer for us, and so we can move forward with best utilizing that space. Much appreciated. Moving right along. If you're okay with that, Jenna. Okay, great, thanks. So on to new business, item 7.1. That's the fall grant application review. The grant applications were received. There were 4 of them with a totality of 8,500 as the request. This commission has 5,500 to allocate. There was a process that was put in place last meeting where we were going to take Rec 10's methodology and how they score their applications to try and get a more detailed way of evaluating. That said, I apologize, there may have been a bit of miscommunication. Was intending for those to be brought to the commission and totaled beforehand. However, as a new process, that didn't quite happen, and something we can aim for in the springtime. However, I would like to basically ask the commission if members were able to take the time to score in their own time prior to the meeting. I'm just going to go around the table real quick. I see Councillor Commissioner Alternate Director Fike, you have yours here. You probably you didn't have that ahead of time as a new member. Peter, no, okay, no, all right, okay, fair enough. And those online, if you just want to raise your hand, if you did have time to go through that scoring process beforehand, I just a quick poll so I know whether we should start with that and go through it. Just put your hand up if you're able to. That's okay. If you didn't, that's all right. All right. So we have to adjudicate that amount. And Jenna, I'm not sure if you're able to pull up on the screen. I did send by email an Excel spreadsheet. Is that in your inbox? Okay. So we've got the amounts there, and I know this is kind of harkening back to how we've done it before. There's no pre-filled amounts. But with that scoring, are you able to pull up the scoring sheet as well beside it if needed? If there was, are you able to put two in one pane or split the pane if possible? With our newer criteria. If not, I can try and send it to you real quick. Let's see. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm not too sure if I can share both of them.
Fair enough. You know, if it's two owners, I think you and I were the only two that put numbers in, then, yeah, as far as aware. Okay. So maybe if the commission is open to it, having us just state what our numbers in totality came to on each one, and then we can open up the discussion to allocate.
Sure, I can start if you want. I'm not sure, Jenna, can you pull up just the scoring?
Yeah, I'm just trying to, just give me 2 minutes, I'm almost there.
Okay, I'll just verbally go through it then. So I found there was, in the initial one, there was only 4 of the applications that I thought were worthy. All of them, in my estimation, scored above 80%. So I did it right away using the old form, and then looked at the new form as well, and didn't really change. I was getting 12s and 13s out of 15. So if all 4 were worthy in my mind of them, then I went through and said, okay, West Kootenay Football Club wants $5,000, and there's only 55 out there. So that doesn't make sense. So what if everybody gets 80%, or at least the first 3 get 80%, and then let's just see what's left for the West Kootenay Football Club that wants $5,000. So 80% of those, I gave Silverton Community Club $440. Let's see, no, it wasn't 440. Yeah, no, $400. Sorry. So Silverton Community Club got $400. Hills Recreation Society, 80% of their ask was $1,440. And 80% of the North Slocan Trail Society was $960. So that came to $2,080. And so if the only money that the West Kootenay could claim would be like $2,700, which comes to the $5,500 we had to allocate. So long and short of it is, I gave Silverton Community Club 80% of what they asked, Hills Recreation 80% of what they asked, North Slocan Trail Society 80% of what they asked, and West Kootenay Football Club 51% of what they asked. It still came to $2,700. That's me.
Okay. Thank you, Alternate Director Fike. I took the opportunity to weigh out with the new scoring as well. I felt that the 4 that were initially submitted to the commission were appropriate and eligible. That later one that Manager Chirico did respond to by email, stating that if it provided service to the area, then it could be considered. However, it wasn't added to the agenda. So it's not being considered at this time, just based off its service area and the taxation. So I did weigh the 4. I tied the 2. Oh, sorry, bear with me one moment. I've got the sheet up here. Probably not going to go with. I've got the scoring sheet, but I don't have the actual email with the tying to each one. But I've got it. If I can look at the.
Do you want to share your screen, please?
That's okay. Silverton Community Club, I scored at 11. I scored the Hills Recreation Society at 11 in totality. The North Slocan Trail Society at 14. West Kootenay Football Club at 13. So those are my evaluations. I think it's going to be difficult to take the numbers that both alternate director Fike and myself have and say that those are the defining numbers, given that the majority of the commission wasn't able to do this at this time. Whether that's something we want to continue in the future or try again, I'd be open to that. But at this time, you've got the scoring up there. Okay. So I think you've got a reasonable solution with the percentages. My initial suggestion was to give each application their full amount aside from the West Kootenay Football Club. That was my initial response to that, but it actually wouldn't necessarily equate to my scoring. So I think your rationale is not unreasonable, but at this time I would like to open it up to the commission for input. And if we could, sorry, Jenna, go ahead. Yeah.
Through the chair.
Okay, you've got, thank you. Commissioner McKeel, chair recognizes you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Casey. Yeah, the only problem I see with just like blanket giving 80%, 80%, 80% is like the community club asked for a reasonable amount of 500. Some of these other ones are more reasonable, but we could totally bring them down a little bit in order to give the West Kootenay Football Club a little bit more. And my kids both play in that league, by the way, and they love it. But like the $5,000 is just an unreasonable ask for a commission of our size. And if we start just going by percentages, and I have written grants for other societies before, you start asking for more than you need, just playing the game of, well, then, we ask for more than we need, we get some of it, it comes closer to where we are. Like, I just don't think it's real, like, responsible or realistic to give the Silverton Community Club less than what they ask for, given whenever I attend this event with my kids and my friends, like there are tons of people playing bocce, there's tons of activities going on, they organize it really well, and they haven't asked for a ton of money. They've asked for a completely reasonable amount for this commission. So my proposal would be to give them the full amount, and either the other 2 lower ones the full amount, or just a couple $100 less and move that into the football club. The West Kootenay Football Club also, as they said in their application, they encompass a huge area. And so hopefully they're also applying for money from other commissions and other spaces.
Thank you, Commissioner McKeel. Appreciate your input. I think you have some valid points there. Chair recognizes Commissioner Johnson.
All right, thanks. One of the problems with using this scoring system is it's great to qualify them as legitimate applicants, but we all know each of these groups, and the problem with using percentages is exactly as Erica points out. It's not a fair way, because then it encourages people to be unreasonable. And so looking at that, then if I look at the Silverton Community Club, they're playing the game honestly, as they've always done. It's a small group, and I would give them the full 500. The Hills Rec Society and the North Slocan Trail Society, if we're going to cut them back a little bit, I would go along with that, but basically they're also asking for reasonable amounts. The Kootenai Football Club, if you look at their budget, they run a massive budget, so they have lots of other options. And the program that they have laid out is to purchase these goals at $5,000 a piece, and so there's four of them laid out in their budget, and we're being asked to pay for one of them. And I don't know what the distribution of the participation in that club is, but it's all up and down the valley, and so I would cut them back much more severely than the other two, and I would give Silverton the full amount.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Is it possible to have the Excel sheet brought up at this point? Or once again, please and thank you. All right, I just want to open it up to go around the commission once more for input on this process, and if there's any suggested amounts. Got someone up here. Oh, Director Popoff, Chair recognizes you.
Yeah, just looking at it and hearing the discussion, and like I do a lot of grants through Area H people, requests for grants, and some of them are very unreasonable, and I do cut them back. But I would agree with what Richard proposed as the full amount for the Silverton Community Club, the Hills Recreation Society, and the North Slocan Trail Society, and then the remainder to the West Kootenai Football Club.
Yeah, those are $2,000.
Right, which is pretty even. Okay, thank you, Director Popoff. I appreciate that, and Commissioner Johnson is of similar mind. Okay, yes. Chair recognizes Director Main.
Thank you, Chair. Through the chair, I would echo Director Popoff's sentiment and proposal. I think it makes a lot of sense to me on many levels. Those first three really did ask for reasonable amounts given the programming they do and the service that they give to the community. And while I recognize that in sports, you have to look beyond your own backyard, I think for them to ask $5,000 from a commission this size, then it's sort of like I go, yeah, one eyebrow goes up, and I'm happy to give them the remaining $2,000. That's still more than we're giving any other purely local group. So I think it finds a balance.
Thank you, Director Main. The chair recognizes Commissioner Yakuchuk.
Through the chair, I would agree with that as well. You take a look at with the wildfires that happened this year and the North Slocan Trail Society, the upkeep that they're going to require in order to get some of the trails up and running again because of the fires. I don't think I wouldn't agree with cutting back their recommendation or their ask for their allotted amount that they would like to receive from this commission. And Leah makes a good point in regards to the football club, in regards to it is spread to a wide area, and they have the possibility of looking at other funding like Selmo, which is included in their proposal, and further areas outreaching. So I would agree with the proposal to go forward with the the first three getting full amount, and then the remainder going to the football club.
Thank you, Commissioner Yakuchuk. I seem to be sensing a bit of consensus among the commission at this point. If possible, Jenna, would you mind filling in the three as full amounts for the Silverton Community Club, Hills Recreation Society, and North Slocan Trail Society, and then the remaining amount of $2,000 for the West Kootenai Football Society, and then just open it up once more to the commission. If there's any further input on those numbers and whether there's any opposition to that amount suggested. Maybe it's not open. Oh, alternate director Fike, chair recognizes you.
I agree with the previous comments.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Excellent. Okay. So looking around, not seeing any more hands or voices coming forward. I'm just going to restate the amounts. So the amounts that we would like, that the commission is entertaining in this motion is to award 500 to the Silverton Community Club, 1,800 to Hills Recreation Society, 1,200 to North Slocan Trail Society, and then the remainder of the allocation of $2,000 to the West Kootenai Football Club. All right. So with that amount, can I have someone move that recommendation, please? Commissioner Johnson, chair recognizes you're the mover, and a seconder, please.
I'll second it.
Alternate director Fike seconds the motion. And then I'll just call if there's any opposed, please state your opposition now. Looking, seeing, hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you all very much for that. Appreciate it. Moving on to item number 7.2, the New Denver and Area Community Gym Equipment Purchase. Alternate Director Fike, and if we could amend that to say Alternate Director Fike, that'd be appreciated. Hope to get that in the minutes. If you want to speak to this, it's your item.
Sure. Through the chair, I've been approached a couple of times from different parties about the punching bag, which was originally a donated item. And if you hit the top of it, haven't been hitting it, but if you hit the top of it, it's like it's air, and you go to the bottom and you break your knuckles. So everything's settled down, and the fact that it was donated in the first place, and we actually had RCK built a rack that we designed. So I'd like to. And the price about for those by the time they're delivered is about $500, the one I'm looking at with the punching bag delivery. And then the second one is, they're called battle ropes. Maybe you've seen them. I know Trisha's seen them, and Peter actually suggested it. It's those where you hook into the wall and you see all their blood vessels popping out, right? One of those, a 30-foot battle rope, and we have a location for it. We know where it's going to go. Won't impede the gymnasium, but people couldn't go and beat themselves up with the battle rope. And the price for those is, I'm estimating about $200 by the time it actually gets to the gym. So I asked for up to $1,000, which should cover it. And I'm quite sure the money's still there. There's enough money in that account. And it would be lovely if and I was speaking with Jenna earlier and Trish about just being able to order it, not going through the 3-bid process, because the staff time to take 3-bid process would be more than the actual price of the items. So I can forward the items if that works for you. I'm not sure how that works, Trish.
Chair recognizes Trisha Davidson, staff member.
Through the chair, that would be great.
Okay.
We can take it from there if you send it to the Castlegar facility manager, Ann Gillender.
Yeah, okay, I'll send it to Ann and with a note that that's what I was asked to do.
Feel free to call me.
Okay, okay, we'll do that. Thank you.
Would you like to make a motion?
Oh, yeah. I would like to move that the Recreation Commission 6 allocate up to $1,000 from the Recreation Commission number 6 equipment budget account 55030 to purchase a punching bag and battle rope.
And do we have a seconder? Peter Yakachuk, Commissioner Yakachuk seconds the motion. And thank you for the introduction. Is there discussion around the commission table or online? This is the time if now you'd like to make any input or discussion on that, please. Okay, hearing none. You mentioned that it would be out of the way. Is there, like, the ropes itself, will they remain on the sidelines?
Yep.
Or okay, I just wanted, do we have, I know you've looked at it, Peter Yakachuk, as a community services manager as well for New Denver. There's no safety concerns for court players, because I know in the past there's things where there was like shelves for disinfectant, and that'll be entirely out of the way. No, we don't have any liability concerns with that?
No.
Not getting stored away?
It'll be situated at mid-court. I know exactly where it should go, and the ropes will just stay off so you can play basketball and the ropes will still be there. And the actual attachment, we'll put foam around it, but it's at mid-court. It's right pretty close to where the nets would be. So it's not like at the end where pickleball players were bashing into the shelf and that sort of stuff, or basketball players. So it's going to be right out of the way of sort of active net sports and basketball.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. That was thought about, and
And through the chair,
yeah, Peter, yeah,
when they're not in use, they're not gonna be lying on the floor, right?
they'll be hung up.
For the most part, we would hope people would respectfully put them back so they're out of the way.
Perfect. Thank you. That answers my questions.
And I think we could put up signage in regards to that as well.
Excellent. Thank you. Since there was no further discussion, and thank you both for answering that inquiry, I'll call the question. If there's any not in favor or opposed, please indicate now by raising your hand or by voice. Looking, seeing, hearing none, that motion is carried. Item number 7.3, Wi-Fi functionality at the New Denver and Area Community Gym. I added this on the agenda after a brief discussion with Community Services Manager and Commissioner Peter Yakachuk. This may be an item that would be addressed at a working group meeting, but my understanding is there's some concern around the ability of the Wi-Fi to provide the function for the Community Services Manager or whomever in the Village of New Denver to manage the key fob and door function. That was the reason why this commission went forward in contracting Wi-Fi services. Maybe I can ask staff member Tricia Davison, have you got any information on the Wi-Fi and how it's working, and in conjunction with Community Services Manager Peter Yakachuk?
Through the chair, I do not. I just know it's been a monumental headache for some time. I'm trying to remember the last email that we dealt with on this, and I'm trying to either if it was the more recent one where the Wi-Fi got installed, but then I think it was then referred to our IT department. And I think that was maybe in the last like 7, 8 days, 9 days, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the last information I know about it. Peter, please correct me if there's some good news around this thing yet.
Through the chair.
Recognized, yeah.
We're still working through the Wi-Fi functionality aspect of it. We had some lock issues in regards to the battery situation, and we've since changed those. I've been in touch with Engage, who manages the lock, and have gone through some troubleshooting activities with them. I've contacted the IT department with RDCK. We have the Wi-Fi set up, so it's available. It's just a matter of going through all the final steps to get it set up in the office. So today, I can't tell you exactly whether it's working, but within the next couple of days, I can give everyone an update by email.
Excellent. Thank you, Commissioner Yakachuk and Tricia Davidson, for that update. It doesn't sound like there's anything the commission needs to do at this time with that, but just something to be aware of as we are paying into it for that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Moving right along to item number 7.4, which is the Recreation Commission number 6 appointees. We've got a number of new appointments and also reappointing of our commissioners. I just lost it here.
Chair, I can speak to the Area H appointments if we have any, Chair.
Please do.
Pop off.
Thank you. Chair recognizes you.
Okay, I did talk to Commissioner Richard Johnson, and he agreed to stay on for another 2-year term. And I don't know if Richard, you had a conversation with your alternate if your alternate would be able to stay on at the same time.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Johnson.
I haven't spoken to her yet, but I will.
Okay, and I also left a message for Commissioner McKeel regarding that. I don't know, Erica, if you will be willing to stay on for another 2-year term and your alternate?
I would be. I can talk to my alternate. I feel like he'll be fine with it.
Okay, so then I move the recommendation that the commission recommend to the board to appoint Commissioner McKeel for a 2-year term expiring December 31st, 2026, and Commissioner Johnson for the same 2-year term expiring December 31st, 2026. And I am a little bit questionable about including the alternates in the recommendation. Possibly if we include the alternates in the recommendation, if they decide not to stay on, they can contact me directly. And when it comes to the board, I'll remove them.
Thank you, Director Popoff. Jenna, staff member, you were able to gather the recommendation by Director Popoff is understood clearly?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Great. Now, just to confirm, Director Popoff, does that need to be a separate, that's going to be a separate motion here as opposed to being in conjunction with the other appointments? Is that correct, is what I'm hearing? Because you made the motion?
The motion is basically an Area H recommendation, so it's separate from the other ones. I have no control over the other ones.
Thank you for the clarification. We need a seconder for that motion for open up any further discussion on it. I've got Director Main seconding. Open for discussion on that for any reason for the committee. I've got Commissioner Denbach. Please go ahead. Chair recognizes you.
Through the chair, on the next page, I'm listed as a commissioner, and I think am I not also up for renewal?
We'll just, fair enough. We'll just grab that one in just a second. We'll complete the motion for the Area H appointments, if that's all right.
It's Area H versus Silverton.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just call the question on the motion from Director Popoff. Is there any opposed? Please say so now. Looking, seeing, hearing none, motion is carried. Moving on to the other appointments. Next in line would be the School District 10 appointments. I do have Commissioner Hemphill here, who is the principal of School District 10. Did you want to speak to those? And also for process, Director Popoff, does the school district appointees come from the principal, or is this something that we need to be concerned about in your experience?
So in the past, we'd need a letter from school district number 10 recommending appointments for their personnel to be on the rec number 6 commission.
Thank you, Director Popoff. And Jenna, would you know that if, and actually maybe I'll just go directly to Commissioner Hemphill. Do you know if letters have been supplied, and are you in favor of these appointments? Are you aware of these appointments?
I'm not aware of the appointments. So
okay, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, if I can add to that, I see in our board agenda that Mitchell Hemphill from the Lutheran School has been appointed for a term of 2 years to expire on December 31st, 2026. So that one does not have to be addressed, but the alternate does have to be addressed.
Okay, thank you, Director Popoff. Commissioner Hemphill, yes, has been appointed as present at the meeting, and then these other ones, yes, are alternate for him, and then also the youth reps. So those will need letters of recommendation or at least verbal confirmation, if I'm not mistaken. And so we won't act on those at this point, unless there's any further understanding that I've missed.
If I may again, that recommendation should come from the school district recommending the appointment of those 3 individuals that are listed in the agenda.
Okay, and Director Popoff, just to reconfirm, merely by the fact that they are on this and what you've confirmed through the board is that there has been no information to move them forward at this time. So the commission will request, do we need to get staff direction, or this is something I can simply follow up by email with staff?
Yeah, if I may, I think, Mitchell, you can probably get a hold of the school district and ask them to write a letter to the regional district board recommending appointments for the 3 individuals listed there.
Perfect. Thank you, Director Popoff, and definitely would appreciate that, Commissioner Hemphill, if you can follow up with the school district on those. Thank you kindly. Okay, and then the remaining appointment is the Commissioner Clarence Zenbach. You mentioned, sorry, did you want to speak to that? Have we got a letter?
I'm good.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. Director Maine, Director Maine, go ahead, please.
Silverton will be reviewing all of our appointments at our December council meeting, so if Councillor Denbach is willing to serve for another 2-year appointment to this commission, I will propose that at the December council meeting, and we will get a letter.
Okay, thank you, Director Maine. Yeah, okay, so we'll leave that one as well then this time. All right. And moving on to our item of business 7.5, the 2025 Rec Commission 6 proposed meeting dates. We've got some meeting dates there. How does the commission, is there any interference in schedules for these meeting dates? And I know Director Popoff, you're fairly familiar with the RDCK's board meetings. Is there any concerns with the dates that are set out there? Effectively, I think reflecting this last year's dates, but moving into 2025. So, just, okay,
yeah, if I may, Chair, I'm just looking at the dates here. We have March 6, 2025 for the Roseberry Parklands Commission.
Oop.
And we have the same date for this recreation number 6. So can we change that to March 7th? Because the Parklands has already been approved.
Right, okay, March 7th, yeah. Friday night. So that's a Friday evening then, Director Popoff?
Oh, okay, I don't have the 2025 calendar. So if we can maybe, if it's a Friday, then can we move it to the 5th?
Here, March the 5th, the Wednesday? Yeah, unless there's any conflicts there.
Okay, so, and the other one, if I want to take a look, you're looking at it, is August the 28th is the Parklands and Trails Commission meeting. So we'd have to move that one, and that one, August 28th in the 2025 calendar is what date?
Thursday.
Well, and then if we can move it to a Wednesday, August the 27th.
27th, okay.
Super, and the other date again, I don't know why we have the same dates here as November the 6th, which is.
Yeah.
Seems like we switched around for some reason with the Parkland Commission. I don't know why. I thought these were all good.
Now, if we do it on November the 5th,
For the 5th.
I presume November the 6th is a Thursday, so.
Okay.
The 5th is a Wednesday, the 6th is a Thursday.
Right, okay. So the March, sorry, go ahead, Director Popoff.
So I will repeat the changes there. The March meeting will be on March the 5th.
Okay.
May meeting will be on May the 8th. The August meeting will be on the 27th. And the November meeting will be on the 5th.
Excellent. Thank you, Director Popoff. And Jenna, were you able to get that down? Thank you. Okay, so no motion required, but thank you for catching that and getting us squared up. All right, item 8, public time. Oh, yeah, sorry, Peter, Commissioner Yakchuk, Chair recognizes you.
Through the chair, I have conflicts for March 6th and, well, March 5th and November 5th.
Okay. Trying to think if we can. Don't know that we can move them.
Wednesdays and Fridays do not work during winter.
Okay, Wednesdays. The trouble is that I know the Tuesdays, they can't, well, if it's the first of the month, then they wouldn't fall on our village council meetings, but I don't know how that would affect other.
Wednesdays, second Wednesday of every month is Silverton.
So you're good there, except for possibly the 20th is fine.
Could it not be March 13th?
The only trouble is we end up getting close to the RDCK board meetings when they're held usually in the later parts of the month.
Third week of every month.
Third week.
Yeah, so
It gets tight for.
difficult to get it on the agenda.
I'll just ask Director Popoff. We set. I'm not sure why we changed with the parklands, but we've swapped. It seems like the nights because we would usually be parklands and then Rec 6 following. Is it difficult to go back and try and change that?
It would create a problem because we already approved those. Then we'd have to reapprove them again at another meeting. So it creates complications. So when I take a look at in March of 20, I finally found my 2025 calendar, but we don't have our scheduled meetings there. But when I take a look at March the 4th is a Tuesday, does that interfere with New Denver Council or Silverton Council?
No, it's good for
No,
Silverton
Denver.
Council.
Okay, so we can change that to March the 4th. Is that okay?
Yep. Is everyone? Yep.
That's the 7 o'clock.
Okay. So
Yeah.
So the other one was November the 5th, right?
That was Commissioner Yakchuk. That was November.
Yes.
Yeah. So November. Yeah.
So if we change that to the 4th, will that work?
Yes, it will.
It works for Silver or for
New Denver
Denver
Patrol.
Council.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, done.
Perfect. Thank you. Glad we got that. Jeez. Okay. Was that all good?
Yes, March 4th, 2025, May 8th, 2025, August 27th, 2025, and November 4th, 2025.
Sounds
Right
good to
on.
me. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. Now moving forward to item 8, public time. Chair will call for questions for public now at 8:38 p.m. I think there is one member of Area H online, a public member. If you want to ask any questions, now's your opportunity. Okay. All right. Don't see any activity there. So moving forward, next meeting is going to be the March 4th, 2025. All right. And moving forward to adjourning the meeting, get a mover for that, please. Chair Yakachuk and Director Main seconds. And any opposed? No.
Is everybody thoroughly
Motion carried.
confused?
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody, and good night.
Good night.
Good talk to you soon.
Thanks. Thanks for coming.